Hello, this is Matt Samudio, and making this video to provide a couple of announcements, a little bit of an update on where I'm going with my video agenda here, and also wanted to make some or provide some feedback for a comment that I received on one of my other videos. Um, First off, let's see the announcements. I'm probably going to try to migrate away from YouTube and head more in the direction of VidMe or vid.me, however you want to call it. Oh, excuse me. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of community. I don't know, stress, I guess you'd call it, around YouTube's policies and all that kind of stuff. And I'm, a little bit averse to some of YouTube's practices around censorship. So I think it remains to be seen how much better VidMe is, but I'm going to kind of move that direction just from a sense of a more community-oriented, open, uncensored type of sensibility. So I'll put this video up on YouTube, and I'm also going to put it on VidMe, and I'm going to kind of, like I said, kind of migrate over to VidMe. So if you're interested in following me, you might want to sign up on VidMe and then add me. My VidMe nick is RK4N3. You want to add me to your subscriptions on VidMe, then you'll continue to get my videos. I mean, I may put them on YouTube for a while. We'll see. But for sure, I'm going to be focusing more on the VidMe aspect. Now, VidMe wants videos less than 20 minutes until you're like a verified creator. And in order to be a verified creator, you need to get a lot of views and likes and kind of things. So, or maybe a certain number of subscribers or something like that. I don't know. I haven't looked into it too closely. But if you're interested in following me on VidMe and you'd like longer videos, then go ahead and view my videos there, maybe give some likes or whatever. If I can get to be a verified creator, then I can make longer videos. Otherwise, I'm limited to 20 minutes. So I'm going to try to fit this one in 20 minutes. So let me get over to the comment. This comment was made on my Slackware Series episode 6 video on software freedom. Rundown Vids made a really nice comment here. A lot of stuff packed in this comment, so that's why I wanted to make a video answer to it. I'm just going to break down the video, break down the comment and walk through and just kind of give my thoughts on each point that he talks about here. So first off, he says he installed Slackware 14.2 and didn't want all the KDE stuff or the XFCE or the games or Emacs. Right off the bat, let me just say I couldn't agree more. That's exactly my sensibility as well. I hate KDE. I don't really hate XFCE, but it's, I don't really want it either. I do use it in a couple scenarios, but for the most part, when I install Slackware, I kind of don't want it. So, and I don't play the games, and I'm not an Emacs user. Emacs is pretty huge too, so I skip all that stuff. Now, the way I do it is in the Slackware installer. There's, they give you I choose expert mode. And then in expert mode, you get a screen that shows some categories of software. You can actually deselect the whole KDE category, the whole XFCE category, and even Emacs has its own category. I just deselect those, and none of it gets installed. And then even in the the other categories, like the A category, which is the core system, I actually, in expert mode, you can go through the whole list of packages in that category, and there's like one or two that I deselect, even in the A series. And in the app series, AP series, that's kind of the normal Unix-like applications, usually terminal and that kind of stuff. I go through there and I deselect some. I deselect some in the development. Like, I don't need Objective-C. I deselect that. I don't need Ada, so I deselect that. Those are huge pieces of software that if you're not going to program in Ada, what the heck do you want that for? So I do go through and I prune out stuff that's especially stuff that's significant footprint that I just don't want to have, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now you will run into this, in this comment, Rundown Vids is saying that the guys in the Slack IRC channel were kind of giving him a hard time. They're like, well, good luck with that. Just do a full install. And, he didn't want to do that. I don't blame Rundown Vids. I do not blame you at all. I don't want to do a full install either, and I never do. And I'm a Slackware veteran. I've been using Slackware since '93. You won't find too many people around that have been using Slackware that long. And I have never, ever done a full install, not once. And even in today's modern footprint of Slackware, it doesn't cause me any problems to not do a full install. So the people that are in the Slackware community that insist on a full install, they are being dogmatic. And that's something that I do not approve of, or I don't advocate being that way. So, take it for what it's worth. Okay, so he goes on to say his first build, he was building Xmonad as his first attempt at a Slack build. Xmonad being a window manager. Now, I've mentioned in my previous videos, I like using Notion, which is another window manager that not a lot of people use. Yeah, Xmonad is I'm sure it's a fine product. Not a lot of people use it. So it's kind of the same boat. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. It's like more power to you. However, you should expect that because not that many people use it, you're going to end up having to figure some stuff out on your own. Okay, so, and then he's saying here that you went on to change Vim. And so basically you're trying to fix that problem where you can't copy and paste text in when you run Vim in a console, the mouse doesn't, highlighting text and copying, pasting doesn't completely work like it should in a console. Well, that's actually part of the internals of Vim. There's some Vim settings around restoring X-compatible behavior in Vim. You should, that would be one way to take care of this without changing Vim. It's probably would be the more recommended way to do it, is to take a look at Vim's very extensive documentation and find the options that have to do with X mouse behavior. And that would you could solve that problem for yourself without changing the source code. Now, or, without trying to do like a build, a custom build of the Vim software. So you tried to go in and change some stuff with Vim, your build failed, and you eventually figured it out. Okay, and you got things working. That's great. But like I was saying, you kind of have to expect having to do that sometimes. Okay, so and you're saying that part of what you're seeing is that the Vim package had a lot of files that you thought you didn't need. Okay, and not referenced in the Slack build. Okay, so here's the thing, and you got this response when you were kind of going along this avenue of changing things, and you got this response in the Slackware community of, what the heck are you doing? Good luck with that. We're not willing to help you. Well, here's what the deal is around that. So Vim is application software, okay? And Slackware's, sensibility, and I would call this a very legitimate sensibility from the perspective of kind of the Unix-like mindset, is Slackware's whole, part of Slackware's whole philosophy is, they're a Unix-like distribution, a Unix-like environment, and they're not going to meddle with upstream software authors' intents. In other words, Vim is an application, and so it has, the people that write Vim, they have their own deal. They do things their own way, and sure, their target is a Unix-like system, but the Slackware's sensibility is that whatever the Vim guys are doing with their software, we're gonna take it, and it's gonna go into this Unix-like environment without any meddling from us. So, and that's kind of their sensibility is Slackware does not seek to change the intentions of the upstream software authors. So if you go into Vim and like do a custom build of it and you start mucking around with some of Vim's internals, you're messing in stuff that the Slackware people are like, that ain't our stuff. So if you mess it up, don't come to us for help. That's kind of where the the response that you got is coming from. Now, as I mentioned, I do feel that some people are a little bit dogmatic about if you didn't do everything the way we recommend, then we're not going to help you. There is a little bit of attitude and dogma around that, but in this case, if you're going to go in and start really modifying an application's internals, you can't necessarily expect help from the Slackware people for that. And let me also just say too that I've encountered in my many years hanging around with the Slackware community that there's a lot of people, or there's been a lot of what you would kind of consider outsiders or people that are not really familiar with the Slackware community. They kind of come in to, like, say, an IRC channel or a mailing list or something. They'll come in and they'll make a bunch of noise and they'll start a bunch of stressful, high energy conversation with possibly lots of insults and lots of claims about this sucks or that sucks or you guys don't do your jobs right or whatever. And they'll come in and they'll make a lot of noise and then they'll leave. And the people that kind of are regulars hanging around in the Slackware community, they can become a little sensitive to that kind of stuff happening. And it's the internet. There's a lot of dumb people out there. There will be people that come in, cause a lot of arguments, make a lot of noise for no really good reason, and then leave, and everyone's left just stressed out. This kind of stuff happens. So there's a little bit of sensitivity around this in the Slackware community. And so, if you don't approach the community with a certain kind of etiquette, you may get kind of this kind of attitude thrown at you. It is what it is, let me also say that, in some technical circles, in some technical communities, there's kind of a lack of regard for, I guess, for lack of a better term, the social niceties. A lot of technical people, especially if they're a little bit on the old school side, I've had a 25 to 30 year development career, and in my early days, cutting my teeth on development, I was immersed in a lot of subculture that was like this, where it's like your feelings aren't important. The technical details, the technical truth of how stuff really works and what's going on with the technology is what is always focused on, and that doesn't always spare your feelings. Sometimes there's a lot of bluntness and possible rudeness involved, and certain circles of technical people just don't pay attention to that, and they never have, and so it just depends on if that bothers you, then you probably need to avoid those people. And but there's a lot of value to the technical expertise that can be found in some of those kind of circles. So you have to take or leave what the best you can. So I guess that's all I can say about that. All right, getting close to the end of the video here. Let me try to move on. I may have to break this up into a couple videos. So yeah, you spent some time getting to work that. Here's another analogy I like to paint. Okay, so you're, well, you know what? Let me save this for the next video. So let's call this this video is kind of a commentary, announcement about VidMe, and a commentary on some culture around the technical communities that you may run into. So I'll have another video coming up soon, and I'll continue with this. So thanks for listening.